2025 is almost done. Here's my knockouts of the year so far.
I see my haters proud of me now. When I'm around, it's all smiles. I took over my whole town.
Before we get this video started, there's a couple of things I want to get out the way. Number one, I'm ranking more of a higher profile fighters. So like if you knock out a UFC champion versus an unranked guy, the UFC champion knockout would be higher in my opinion. But number two, here's my honorable mentions. And with that being said, let's jump right into this list. At number 10 on my list, we have a fighter that everybody thought was down and out not too long ago. Coming into this fight, he was on a 2-fight finishing streak, and we was like, can he make it 3 times in a row versus a top 10 competitor in the light heavyweight division? And number 10 on my list, we have Dominic Reyes versus Nikita Krillof. That step back left hook is just absolutely flattened Nikita Krillof, and it submitted that Dominic Reyes is back and he's looking for another run at the title. And he got Carlos Ulberg coming up, and that fight should be extremely fun. And number 9 on my list, we have a bantamweight that has been surging ever since he got into the UFC. It just seems like that right hook is the one hook wonder. If you can survive the first round and survive a couple of right hooks, you might have a chance. We haven't seen him past the first round yet. I have Mr. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Chris Martinho. Doing that in front of your home fans in Atlanta, Georgia. He had the walkout, he had the swagger going into it, and Malcolm Wellmaker is on his way to be a UFC star. Number 8 on my list, we have a fighter that's claiming that he is the best middleweight on the planet, and that man is Mr. Imav, and he had a chance to prove that he was the best against Israel Adesanya, and he was able to make that statement very loud and very clear. That right hand that he landed on Adesanya would have dropped probably a lot of the middleweights in the division, and the left hands that followed up were just as brutal. That man, Imav, has submitted himself as one of the best 185-pounders on the planet right now, and he has a chance to prove it again against Caio Borralho in his backyard in France, and I think that fight's going to be a fantastic showing for both of these guys. At number 7 on my list, we have a fighter doing something to another fighter that had never been done before up until this point. We have Mr. Randy Brown finishing Nicholas Dolby. It's starting to look like Rock'em Sock'em robots in there for a little bit, and I felt like whoever connected first was probably going to be the first one to drop him, and Randy Brown was able to drop that man, Nicholas Dolby, with a beautiful right hook, reminiscent of Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Face down, fight's over, no follow-up shots necessary. Randy Brown put on one of the best performances in 2025, in my opinion. At number 6 on my list, we probably have the shortest left hook check in the history of the UFC. This thing landed perfectly and just sat his opponent out cold. We have Joe Sangyo versus Jenga. This is his last name. That was Joe Sangyo's UFC debut, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. If he puts on performances like that, he should be in the upper echelon in no time in the UFC. At number 5 on my list, we don't see a lot of these type of knockouts, but when we do, they are spectacular almost every single time. It is reminiscent, probably like one of one to the Rampage Jackson slam over there in Pride. You probably guessed it off of that one. We have Elijah Smith versus Tashumi Kazama. That slam knockout was absolutely scary, and Elijah Smith is a very, very exciting fighter. Hopefully they can get that man out of the apex in his next couple of fights, because that man is pure excitement every time he steps in there, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. At number 4 on my list, we have another Rock'em Sock'em type of fight, just this time with some bigger guys, and this one ended in round 1. We have Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Alhassan. This one was an absolute war back and forth for one round. At a time right before this left hook landed, I thought Abdul was going to get a finish win over the kickboxer and Cesar Almeida, but that left hook just changed the game, turned all the lights off in Abdul's mind, and that man, Cesar Almeida, is a very, very dangerous striker. And number 3 on my list, this is how you make a statement, and this is how you get the UFC champions' attention to even get them to call you out. We have Lerone Murphy taking on Aaron Pico at UFC 319. In another fun first round event, Aaron Pico came out looking like he was on fire, looking like he was going to set the UFC on blaze, and he's going to come into the UFC and just do what he wants to until he ran into the spinning elbow of Lerone Murphy, a fighter that a lot of people don't think of as a finisher. He has 3 of them in the UFC now, which isn't a lot, but it is more finishes than the other title contender, potential contender, Imav ever left. But that man, Lerone Murphy, is a very, very dangerous fighter. At number 2 on my list, it is crazy whenever you see a knockout and you don't really think something hit him until the body drops. I am taking Mauricio Ruffy versus King Green. Watching that knockout live, watching that spinning slap kick, slapping hook kick live, that thing did not look like it landed in my opinion, but when they slowed it down, it went right off the top of King Green's head, and he had no choice but to go night-night off of it. That was a beautiful technique from Mauricio Ruffy, and that man is excitement personified, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. At number 1 on my list, this one was hard to pick between 1 and 2, but I just chose the higher ranking of the status of the fighters, and we have Mr. Ilia Topuria taking out the legend Charles Oliveira. When you say you're going to knock somebody out all the way leading up to the fight and you're sorry that it has to be this man and you go out there and absolutely destroy him, you have no choice but to be number 1 on my list as of right now. I can't see too many things topping that in the UFC right now coming up. It's possible. It is very possible that this knockout goes to 2 or 3 by the end of the year. But as right now, I think Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira, the way he did it, is the number 1 knockout of the year so far, in my personal opinion. What do you guys think about my list? Who would you put on this list? Let me know down below in the comments who y'all would change. Like always, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Be good people. Peace.